Recently in class, we played the Stanley Parable. Usually, people would just, usually people in our class would just write a small essay and then call it a day. But on this channel, we go a bit deeper. We're inside to do a bit more. So, today we're gonna discuss why this game was good. Good. Yes, we know the point of relevance has already passed, and basically 5 people are gonna watch this thing. But this is more for the essay that was. But this is an essay that was assigned to us, so we gotta get this out. So let's get started. Also, this was edited in like a single day. Please help me. We need money. Not really though, but yes. The story of this game is relatively simple, depending on which ending you get. Like, say, if there is an ending where you just jump off the lift and then die. Kind of simple. However, there are some very complex endings, things that on their own can make for individual stories. The biggest example of this is the confusion ending. I can't go into that ending descriptively right now because, well, it's kind of long. By kind of, I mean it's the longest one there is. But however, the endings that is most likely to be canon and therefore the most important is the freedom ending. This is because it happens when you listen to the narrator and do everything he says. We'll get back to don't worry, we'll get back to him later. In that ending, you escape the mind control facility and get to escape the madness of everything. This is one of many endings, and if I talked about every single ending and what happens in the plot, well, this video will be very, very, very long. In fact, there's even an ending where aliens invade. No, that's actually a thing. I wish I was joking, but like you enlist to like get aliens. If you've seen it, then you understand what I mean. Hopefully, you understand what I mean by that. So now let's move on to the characters. So let's talk about the characters. This game doesn't really have that many characters. If I've counted correctly, there's like 5 of them. There's Stanley, the narrator, the bucket, Mariella, and you, the player. Firstly, let's discuss the character that we say the least, yet spend the most time with. Stanley. In this game, we play the eyes of Stanley. His life and actions are controlled by both the narrator and the player. Stanley is less of a character with his own desires, wants, and actions. Desires, wants, I guess that's the same thing. And he's more of a plot device that lets us view the world of this game. The thing that I find a bit interesting about this game is that they actually make an effort to differentiate between Stanley and the player. For example, if you unplug the phone instead of picking up the phone, the narrator will eventually say, "Wait a minute, you aren't Stanley, you're a player." Because the game consistently speaks to either the player or Stanley directly, but never does the game speak to both at the same time. Most of this is done by our third character, the narrator. The narrator is, I think, British, is a British man trying to tell the story of Stanley. The thing I like about the narrator is that the game demonstrates that this narrator needs Stanley. He needs the opportunity to tell a story, and to do that, he needs the main character, Stanley. Of course, I should have probably mentioned this before I mentioned what I found so interesting. The narrator is basically just a narrator. Yeah. The fourth character is Mariella. Mariella is an all of two endings. The first ending is the insanity ending. In that ending, well, you go down the stairwell and then do a long line of insanity to eventually end up dead on the sidewalk. In the second ending, well, same things occur, except this time you did it with a bucket. Now, if you read between the small amount of screen time she has, then it kind of becomes clear that she is supposed to represent the average person. She represents how a normal person would react to this game's events. The final character is the bucket. The bucket is an item that you obtain from the museum ending. Once you get the bucket, you can basically take it with you to all of the endings you've seen before, and then that ending will change and discuss how Stanley feels about the bucket. And usually they discuss how Stanley feels because of the bucket or about the bucket. The bucket was more of an excuse for the developers to add brand new ideas without having to work tirelessly to think of something fresh. That's basically all the characters in the game, and there's probably like 2 more, well, but I don't really remember any. This game isn't really rich in characters, which is fine. The tone of the game is very important. The story's tone is responsible for getting your audience to feel a certain way about what happens in the story. That's what its use is. A good tone can leave audiences feeling specific ways, while the bad and inconsistent tones can leave them confused. Funny tone can make them feel like they enjoyed the ride, while a more dark and gritty tone can make them feel like sad and emotional about this one story. So how's this game's tone? This game's tone is a weird mix of a funny comedy and a dark, realistic game. This game manages to achieve this by making each ending have different tones than the other. One ending might be completely serious, and the other might be filled with jokes. But no matter what, the tone stays consistent throughout each individual ending. This works because once you've gotten each ending, there's this loading going, the end is never the end, there's never the end. And because of that, your expectations get reset, expecting something new and willing to get any sort of tone, and that makes for quite a neat bit of pacing and tone. So in short, yes, this has a good tone. A neat tone. What about the theme of this game? This game has 2 major themes. The first is kind of a middle finger, in my opinion, to modern storytelling. No, it's not a middle finger to my opinion. In my opinion, it is a middle finger to modern storytelling. I should probably clarify that. That theme is that too much subversion is not a good thing when telling a story. For example, if you decide to go back up the elevator back to your boss's office like 3 times, the narrator will eventually tell you that, quote, audiences nowadays only want to have big, explosive surprises smashed into their faces every second of their day. But where's the fun in that? There's no ability to anticipate surprises, so they won't mean anything. So they basically sum up why my problem with Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars. There are many endings about this topic, but there's one topic that they discuss even more, which is their second theme, obviously. The second theme is about the nature of choice. Line, hold up. If you disobey everything the narrator says, then you eventually end up in an endless loop of through the same door over and over again with no escape. However, if you do everything that narrator tells you and they end up escaping the madness. This is the freedom ending that we mentioned earlier. The game awards you for doing as the narrator says. The second theme of this game is that just because you have the ability to choose doesn't mean you should. This entire game is basically built off the idea that you will disobey the narrator by doing this, you end up in an eternal cycle of making choices. The game presents you with the choice of going through the left or right door. You make that choice of going through the right door solely because you want to make the choice that says you chose. Ultimately, the theme of this game is that in order to move along in your life, in order to have the ability to choose, sometimes you have to let others choose for you. Honestly, I agree with it. It's actually quite neat. This is one of the many games that deal with choice, but there's one game that I feel does it better. Recently, I replayed my favorite game. All the games I played, the Talos Principle is my favorite. In that game, you are also presented with an important choice. See, when you leave Tower A, Elohim, a character who kind of serves the same purpose as the narrator serves in our video essay, tells you not to send the Great Tower, because on the day you do, you will surely die. Now, because Elohim told you not to send the tower, most people decide to defy most players specifically. Just like the Stanley parable, the game tells you not to do something because the developers know that by telling you not to, you will defy Elohim, or the narrator. I'm not going to go into that much detail about this game because I plan to make a full video about it. As it is, after all, my favorite game. Yeah. That's coming soon. But one thing that is important, these two center around the idea that you are curious enough to make that choice. You need to know what's up there, what's behind the door on the right, what happens when you ascend the Great Tower. How do you die? Now, most people don't actually get the ending. They eventually just stop because there's too many red puzzles, so yeah. But hey, it's still fun. If you haven't played Deluxe full, go to, so it's my favorite game of all time. And that's it. I know this may have seemed like a shorter video essay than usual, but that's because apparently due dates are a thing and we didn't know that. Hopefully I've been able to convey why this game is good. If I haven't, or even not convinced that this game is one of the masterpieces, then just go play it yourself, man. Heck, if you are convinced, go play it yourself also. This is an extraordinary experience that truly does signify the meaning of choice. What's it called? Surprises and what it means to make a sequel. This game is good because it can make meta commentary because it breaks the fourth wall. This mashes the fourth wall into bits. Most of the dialogue is directed at you, the player. It's amazing. Go try it if you haven't yet, or just watch some random dude on the internet. That's how I able to get most of the stuff I needed for this video. But hey, if you like what you watched, watch the 2 other videos we have on our channel. It's actually good. I'll see you next time.